Battle items were a part of old Monster Legends. Way back when, they were added to aid you in battle, so instead of you choosing an attack from the monster whose turn was up, you use an item, which could do all sorts of crazy things. Items have long since been removed, but I for one think it was a super cool addition. Items came in 5 categories, but since the wiki page doesn't name them, I will myself. The first category is the attack category. It's by far the biggest and the most broad out of all of them. It contains anything from a grenade that does area damage to a team 50% damage increase for 4 turns. The second category is healing. These items just focus on healing and stamina. None of these items are too crazy, they just heal and some even recover stamina. Yay! Next is shield. This is a very small category, and just gives certain elemental shields to an ally. Nothing much else to say about this one. The next category is weird, since it doesn't really have a theme. It has immune to some static effects, stamina recovery, and revives. And then the last category isn't really a category, since it's only for items that cost gems. I would go over the basic items, but they're super uninteresting. It would just be me pointing out that this grenade does 250 damage, while this one does 1000. So instead, I'll just cover the more interesting and overpowered items, since that makes for a more exciting video. Starting with the first category, we have the Infused Grenade, which does 10,000 damage to a single target. Now, nowadays 10,000 is nothing, but back then I'm sure this would have killed anything in one hit. The next items aren't very interesting, dealing damage and applying a torture. There's a total of 4 AoE stuns, and none of them are that interesting. It's when we get to the bottom of the list, which is where we see the craziest effects items have to offer. I already talked about the team 50% damage increase for 4 turns, but right below it are Time Stop and Temporal Flux, which are both enemy 3-turn denial, Time Stop being single, and Temporal Flux being AoE. Imagine how insane that would be these days. Having 3 turn cycles to just do whatever and the enemy team wouldn't be able to do anything about it? That'd be crazy. The next item is just as insane, and its name is Triple Strike. It allows your monster to attack 3 times in a row. This gives a monster enough time to do whatever, from killing each monster individually, setting up for a big AoE, or anything else really. And thus ends the attack section, since there weren't any more insane items, other than that one that gives 2-turn evasion, or double damage for 2 turns. The next category was healing, and it doesn't have anything very interesting, only items that heal for very low amounts for today's stats. The highest amount of healing an item can do from this category is 4,000, to either one ally or their team. We're just going to move on to the next category. The next category, shields, is also not very interesting, and it's the shortest out of all of them. All it has are shields that block out 50% of the damage dealt from a specific element, so nothing too interesting. It also has 3 other random items, one that gives haste to an ally or all allies, or an ally 25% damage mirror. Not sure why they're in this category, but they are. The next and last category is unnamed, since it doesn't really have a theme. It has some immunities to torture items, some stamina regeneration items, and some resurrection items, which are the best in their category, with a single and team 100% resurrection, which is insane. And the last category is just for items that cost gems, so that's the end of the categories. All this is to say that items have been forgotten and lost to time. In a way, I wish they were still around. I know monster movesets and stats has long since passed any utility these items once had, but items were things I had fun with. I think in some way, items should be brought back. Maybe not for PvP, but for a separate live battle mode where items could be enabled. What would they look like? I have no idea. But I think items were a fine addition to the single player modes that were removed simply because they didn't serve a purpose, and therefore been long since forgotten. And that's the story of Monster Legends battle items. Thanks for watching.